Welcome to Mail Monday, a weekly series that's not so much about the gameplay, but instead is about your questions and my answers to them. Let's do this. Hey Woody, so I'm going to make this as short as I can. I'm a 20-year-old guy, fairly average, except that I get attracted to younger girls. By this, I don't mean 10 or 11 years old, not at all. Ooh, I just found girls around 15, maybe even down to 14 sexually attractive. Is this creepy? Should I be locked up in a lab somewhere for study? It's kind of confusing to me. At the same time, I have a girlfriend who's 20 years old too, and I love her, of course. But as all the other guys, I look at random girls at the beach, and the difference is that I find girls who are 15 or 16 years old attractive, whereas others find them way too young. My brain, maybe the little brain downtown, works that way. That if they have a nice matured body, which surprisingly many of them have, I could have sex with them if the opportunity to arise. Any advice, thoughts, or help? P.S. This doesn't have to be Mail Monday, I just wanted your attention. Keep up the good work. Man, I hope you appreciate this, because I know full well that my answer is going to fuel haters, but I'm doing it for you. I'm taking a risk to help you with your own issue here. So here's the thing. I don't think that this is really that abnormal. Especially that there was a section of your letter, let me read it again, where you specifically called out girls that were 15 to 16 but had mature bodies. And that's why I don't think you're so weird. I think that, you know, at some point, you know, girls are women, at least biologically. And, you know, if you're having thoughts that you don't act on, then I don't think you're such a horrible person. Look, here's a picture of Brooke Shields at 16 years old. When I see this picture, I don't see a little girl, right? This is a girl who's transformed into a woman, at least biologically, right? She's kind of grown up, you know, in the physical sense. And there are a lot of girls who I think culture has celebrated when they turn 18, so that finally the thoughts they have can be approved. You know, the internet went wild when Natalie Portman, you know, think about her in Star Wars, right? You know, she was like this sex symbol, but she was like 16 or 17 in that movie. The Olsen twins, Miley Cyrus, all these people were kind of celebrated for turning 18 because, you know, some guys were oogling them when they were still teenagers, and it was like, aha, finally, you know, the dirty thoughts you've had about Natalie Portman are no longer dirty. Now they're just expected, you know, like that's the thing. And I think that you're going through that too. You're like, wow, you know, like you feel guilty about it because your body is instigating certain thoughts, but the reality is, you know, bodies being what bodies are, your goodness and badness is really measured by what you do and not what you think. You know, that's the way that you measure a man. And the fact that you're having, you know, I don't know, naughty thoughts about people who were young but developed into full women, you know, I'm not going to hate on you for that. I think that, you know, there are a lot of people who do that too. And, you know, like I was calling out before, the internet celebrations of that kind of fact are testament to it. So, yeah, dude, so long as you act well, even if you think dirty, then, you know, I don't have a problem with it. So I just listened back to what I said, like kind of as a proofreading type thing. And I want to add, I would have a problem with it if he was attracted to those 10 and 11-year-olds. But the fact that he's calling out those 16-year-olds that look like they're 20 and saying he thinks they're hot, yeah, dude, there's lots of people like that. Just behave yourself. I'm a freshman in high school, and I'm playing lacrosse for the second year in a row for my first time. I'm not sure what he means by that. Most people thought I was good my first year, and I would agree with them. I thought I was, but now I'm in high school and I suck. No lie. I don't know what it is. Every time I go out there for practice, I feel like all my athleticism just disappears from me. I know I have it in me to be great at this. I know I do. Somewhere in me, it's there. Not just to be good, but to be great. I would practice 8 hours if I had to. I would try as hard as I can. When I practice by myself, I feel like I could, but then I go out there, I get nervous, and it holds me back. Tryouts are next week. I've been just going to captain's practice, and I don't understand how the Michael Jordans and the Ronaldos do it. I feel like practicing a lot, but something's missing. Please help and keep up the good vids. So I actually just heard Chael Sonnen talk about this. If you don't know him, he's a UFC fighter, and he's famous for having, like, psychological issues, right? This is a guy who has, like, literally almost never lost a round. Almost never lost a round. All the fights he lost, he would be dominating the guy, and then boom, something would go wrong and he'd lose the fight. He's like, it has to be mental. You know, he took Anderson Silva, and you know, he won that first round. And in the first fight, he won 4 rounds until the 5th one where he lost. The guy is fantastic, except that sometimes he just has these slippages where things go wrong. And he was talking about an experiment that they had. They took a 2x4 and they laid it on the ground. And then they asked a bunch of guys to walk across it. And they did. It was no problem. Everything went fine. And then they took that same 2x4, and this time they suspended it between 2 stepladders and said, now walk across it. All of a sudden, nobody could, right? It's the same task. It's the same job. It's no trouble. They did it fine when it was laying on the ground, but when they put it between 2 stepladders, suddenly the location changed. Suddenly the stakes changed. They all had it in them to walk across it just as easily as they did when it was on the ground, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it because now it's suspended between 2 stepladders. I've competed in sports for an awful long time, and you know, I'm not immune to it either, right? The same thing pops into my head, like, oh my God, here it is. Here's my chance. Here's the big moment. And, you know, what helps me a ton is to sort of rewire my brain and think, you know, Woody, just do the things that you're good at doing. You know, I was a swimmer for a long time. Dude, you know, there's no difference between swimming in meets and the, you know, full effort practice swimming that you put in there. There's no difference between swimming in a meet where your competition is equal to you and now you've got a big challenge on your hands, and swimming in a meet where your competition is not equal to you and everything is going to go swimmingly. So when you enter these practices, or when you enter these psych out moments, rewire yourself and get your head on straight. You know, it's a mental issue that you've got going on here. And, you know, you say like, man, I was really good last year. I'm not good this year. Did I lose it? You didn't lose it. You just need to rewire your head to say, this is something that I know how to do. This is something that I'm good at doing, and then execute on that. It's a mental issue, and you know, it's a real thing. That's one of the differences between the Michael Jordans and the rest of the world. You know, it's not that his body was all that much better. All these guys in the NBA have great bodies, but he was comfortable performing. And watch this low star. So many people didn't die that I expected to. But anyway, yeah, rewire your head. Tell yourself that these are things that you know how to do. Do what you're good at doing. Do what you've been practicing, and you'll be good. I'm about to have a threesome with my amazing girlfriend and my long-term friend, who's a girl. While this might be a sexual act for some, the event is really important to us. Our friend has just come out of an emotionally abusive lesbian relationship and would like to use this event to transition back into dating and liking men who have rejected her in the past. Do you have any tips or advice that would allow me to make the most spectacular experience either of these girls have ever had before, that would allow me to redeem men? I'm a longtime fan and love your work. A PM or something would be much appreciated. This is not the normal way in which couples invite a third party into their sex, right? Like, that's what you're doing is kind of emotionally frightening to me, because like what a normal third party thing, a normal threesome would go like this. They would like 2 people would love each other, and the third one would be more or less a human sex toy of some sort, right? That like she's supposed to know her role. Her role is to sort of please and get pleased and enjoy it, but really she's the tag along to the couple. That's the normal way in which like a threesome goes down when 2 of the people are attached. What you're doing is different. You know, you're almost embarking into like a polygamy situation where like you're going to have an emotional attachment to the one that's not your girlfriend. She's your longtime friend. She's someone that you're hoping to somehow repair through a sex act and get her back in the there are red flags all over this situation for me. And, you know, I hate to be the guy that somehow discourages the threesome, because we all know that's, you know, that's the goal, right? But tread with caution here, man. It sure sounds like this is the road to jealousy. This is the road to, you know, emotional problems that weren't there before. If you have an amazing girlfriend that you love, and then you're bringing in someone else who it sounds like you have serious feelings for, that you also love, right? Love in some way, then you're risking your relationship. This is not just, you know, we're bringing in a human sex toy type thing that people normally do. This is you know, we're bringing in this person who's now getting into men, and I'm going to show her how great men can be. It's a scary situation. If you like the video, be sure to subscribe by clicking on that blue box in the top right. Here's 2 other videos you may have missed. And yeah, click like if you're inclined to do so. Have a good day.